My name is Spencer Irvine, and I will be interviewing Diana West, who has written the very intriguing book, The American Betrayal. Um, so, Diana, why did you write this book, and did you have a specific audience you wanted to gear it towards?
Well, I wrote this book. I actually wrote a different book than the one I set out to write. I ended up following my research where it took me, and I began in modern times imagining that I'd be writing a book about the American response to Islam after 9/11, and I ended up discovering that that response has great parallels with the American response to communism many generations ago, or several generations ago. The audience, I think the audience is really any American concerned, interested, puzzled by the state of our politics and culture today. And the thing about the book is it's not a straight history book. It is actually a first-person book, because what I discovered was so shocking that at a certain point I realized I almost needed to hold the reader by the hand. So I tried to write it and use the first person. In other words, I discovered this, and then I found this, and then there's this coming ahead, because it is a lot of unfamiliar territory. I think much of it will be shocking to people, and the nature of the material was such that I realized, again, I almost structured it this way, that I was really kind of writing a historical detective story. So I think given the ingredients and the approach I took, I think that I'm hoping the audience is fairly wide, because I think it should be a general interest book, and it should be accessible to non-specialists. It's for American citizens.
When you were writing this book, were there some very key points that you wanted to make that could correlate to what's going on today, that's relevant in today's state of politics?
Yes, I think the first one really is, it sounds so silly, it's almost trite, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Do not shade things for political purposes. Do not shade things for fear of giving offense. One thing I discovered, again, looking at Islam, looking at communism, today people are very afraid to talk about Islam for fear of giving offense to Muslims, to Islam. I was quite shocked to discover that there was the same attitude back during World War II, fear of giving offense to the Russians. And it changed our policies. It made us very fearful. It made us very easy to manipulate. I think the same thing is going on today. And in fact, many of the lessons that I think we can look back on and learn from our historical experience have direct application today, looking at how the penetration of communist agents into our system worked. Now we have so much more knowledge about it. How we can apply that to today. Again, a very relevant lesson from the past.
All right. Having grown up in a very post-Cold War world, I didn't hear much about any of the things that you share in your book.
Yeah.
And if you're taking it from perspective of the young people today, what would be some of the advice of how to buck against that the not Cold War focused education that they've been raised in?
Well, I think that it is a great, really it's to our detriment that we are not better instructed in our history. And it isn't just at this post-Cold War period when you're going to school. Even when I was going to school, we were not being taught these things. We were not being taught much about communism in general, even though it really was one of the defining forces in the last 100 years and still has great effect, great influence on us. So I guess it becomes up to young people in particular to self-educate, to try to not to be too susceptible to authority, just telling them what the authority wants them to know. I mean, it really does, we do have to sort of become citizen scholars in a way and educate ourselves so that we are better equipped to be citizens of a republic and not some kind of soft dictatorship.